Hello friends, I'm going to give you a mini-series here on YouTube taken from my book. The chapter is the postscript, and the title of the chapter is 16 Facts about Covert Malignant Narcissist Sociopaths. I have, unfortunately, considerable experience with this. Excuse my voice sounds a bit low because I hurt my voice yesterday. So I'm just letting it get back to its normal tonality. So it's a little bit funny now. So I'm not going to read you all 16. I'm going to do this mini series where I'll give you 4 at a time, and it'll be for a 4-part. Little 4-part mini-series thing, okay? So, the first fact I'm going to lay on you is that they show moments. I'm reading from my book because I wrote it and I did a good job of what I wrote, so I'm just going to read what I wrote. They show moments of clarity and brilliance. Just to give you a bit more information, who am I and what right do I have to speak on these issues? Well, I wrote a book, which I will put the link to. I think I'm going to put a link in here. I can't remember now if YouTube lets me do that without being a paid presenter. Anyhow, the book is finally free. My Exodus from the Covert Malignant Narcissist Sociopaths. My parents were the first in my life, and they primed me to be an easy target for all of the ones who followed them. And they were not just primary relationships, but the ones that, no, I shouldn't say that. They all impacted me and were deeply damaging. The primary relationships are pretty significant. Hold on one second. So, who am I and why should you listen to me? Because I have extensive experience with these people, and I spent many years not knowing what I was dealing with, as I'm sure a lot of you who tune in will probably be able to identify with. Those of us who I would say would be in the category of the normals, people who are, I'm an empath, so I'm more sensitive than the average person, but those of us who are in the category of normal, as in we are not narcissist sociopaths and don't go around laying waste to other people's lives, don't know, we're not prepared, In my case, I didn't know what my parents were, so they basically did all of their damage and primed me to be a target for other narcissist sociopaths. And I was none the wiser until a few years ago, when I finally I got some education. I heard people talking about it, and I started to realize that what I was dealing with, and then that knowledge expanded as I continued to do research. So I have all of my personal experience that I am now offering to you, and as a support, as a means of identifying, as a means of finding that you have resonance with someone else who may be very different than you, and our details may be very different, but the emotional experience and the damage and all of the abuse, it all ends up being the same. So I'm telling the truth because the truth needs to be told, and I'm not keeping people's dirty secrets any longer. And also, then further, it's now you're hearing another voice speak, and I hope, it is my hope and my intention that my experience is of service to you, if it either educates in some way or provides a support, it provides an identification, it provides a resonance, it provides further education, and yeah, I think there was something else I was thinking of, but I'm not thinking of it right now. And you know, for those of you for whom this may apply, my experience is a cautionary tale, too. Don't do, you know, please don't be, I would like to see that people avoid the horrific damage and suffering that I have experienced. And I think that by us talking about it, and by speaking of our experience and exposing our experience and telling the truth without fear, without self-editing or smoothing it over, that the greater the education, the greater the prevention. So the first item in my 16 facts are, they show moments of clarity and brilliance. It is part of their mask. They pair it with neuroassociative conditionings, and I talk about NAC in this section as well, to keep you confused. They use neuroassociative conditioning to keep you confused. They give supreme love, kindness, empathy, compassion, are present, intellectually engaged, appear balanced and generous. For the time required to gain control, they are the ideal. They are the mask. Then they flip to their real selves until you object and pull away. At the point that they see that their control is weakening, they put the mask back on and run a love bombing and hoovering routine to take control again. They run this pattern on an infinitely repeating cycle. They show moments of clarity and brilliance, and they do it for as long as is necessary to take control of whatever. And their control is all about controlling your emotional condition. Because if they're controlling your emotional condition, they are controlling then, highly likely, your behavior. Because most people are going to act according to their emotional condition, right? Unless we're being really, really, really conscious and we're very cerebrally making choices that are perhaps in conflict with our emotional condition. If we're not thinking about it, and if we're not consciously focused on that, we will naturally act as our actions will be a result of our emotional condition. And so if they control our emotional condition and keep us confused, they're controlling our behavior, and they're controlling, and then by extension, controlling the entire the situation, the relationship, the interaction, and just just manipulating to get to achieve their ends. The next item, he or she does not love you. He or she hates you. The narcissist sociopath, the covert malignant narcissist sociopath, targets an individual and plays the love game. But the real fact of the matter is that they actually hate you. It's not even a dislike. It's not even a sort of an indifference. They hate you. And there's something about you, me, the target, that so incenses them that they take you as a target because they need to enact some revenge, because they hate you, because you represent something about you offends them on a profound core level, and they're going to work out, they're going to take their revenge. What I write, okay? They say they love you. Mr. X, who was the last narcissist sociopath, and this man destroyed my life. He financially destroyed me and absolutely destroyed my life. And I am now currently paying the cost for this, and I am very much in the quicksand. I'm very much in the quicksand right now, thanks to the product of everything that he did. Okay, Mr. X was violently jealous of me. He hated me for, 1, being intelligent, 2, knowing words that he didn't know, 3, being at ease and skilled with other cultures and languages, 4, dressing well, 5, being fit, 6, being talented, 7, following through and getting things done, 8, being a woman of my word, or a person of my word, depending who the narcissist is. My father hated me. My father was a covert malignant narcissist sociopath. My father hated me for, 1, existing, 2, being naturally talented in multiple disciplines, 3, taking attention away from my mother. This, he screamed at me and beat me mercilessly at age 4 because I was taking attention away from my mother. That's a whole other issue I'll discuss in a different video about what the hell that was. 5, demanding constant compliments. Another thing that he would say to me is that I demanded constant compliments. He said that to me throughout my entire life. My mother despised me for, quote, she literally said this, putting on airs. 2, looking for her to show. She despised me because I looked for her to show up for me. 3, having brilliant talent as a child and being confident in doing anything. The pointless irony is that she was massively talented herself, but that doesn't play into this picture. 4, I represented a mirror to her, and she hated herself, and by extension, hated the reflection that I showed her, right? The reflection that I was to her. My parents hated me. They hated me. And they tried to kill me. Now, they didn't try to kill me by a direct act of taking a knife and stabbing me multiple times and then leaving me for dead. They tried to kill me in all of the insidious, non-trackable ways, the ways that our culture does not police people, our culture does not address. We don't have laws that protect children. And that, again, is another conversation. But our society does not actually protect us. Our society abandons us. And the parents, no matter how unfit they are not replaced with solutions. The existence of social services means nothing, because that is not an organization that actually does anything positive for children. And I knew that. I, along with anyone else who was a brutally abused child, we knew this. This was something that was known immediately. It was very easy to discover, and it was something that I knew at a very young age. Okay, number 3. I've got 2 more, 3 and 4. Again, somebody had asked me, please keep my videos to 10 minutes or under. I apologize. I'm trying to be succinct. Maybe I need to limit it to 2 points per video. Maybe the next one I'll do 2. Item 3 on this list. They always have to be somewhere else. Mr. X was always talking fast, looking at his phone, making some plan, yammering on about someone or something he was obsessed with at that moment, what he might be doing, who he would be seeing at any given time. One of his favorite phrases is, I imagine, what is next? He could never be with me and just be. He was, and I'm sure is, perpetually discontent, unsatisfied, continuously hunting for the next gratification, like the great white shark that has gotten the scent of blood. They are haunted by their wretched, empty souls. They never stop running. And from themselves, ultimately. They never stop running, ultimately from themselves. that pretty much says it all. And it was a deep hurt to my heart that I desperately wanted him to just want to be with me and do anything. That it didn't have to be a program or a something specific, some extravagant or lofty something. It just be, but he was incapable of doing that because he was, and they are perpetually discontent. They are perpetually restless. They are perpetually, what's not aggravated, not anxiety. I'm losing the word right now, but okay. And then item number 4 on this. Now this video is quite long, but item number 4 of the 16 facts about the covert malignant narcissist sociopath. They act like nothing happened. What's wrong with you? Mr. X, my father, they all do this, would abuse, and in as little as minutes later, act as if it had never occurred. I was repeatedly told, get over it, full caps. Like clockwork, Mr. X would call a few days after one of his foul demonic episodes, and they absolutely were foul demonic, with a bright breezy, hi. I would remind him of the elephant defecating all over the room, and he would tell me that I, quote, held grudges, end quote, and rant that I couldn't, that couldn't I just, quote, let it go. So this again speaks for itself. They behave atrociously and then very, very easily get over it themselves because they alternatively don't have any sense of ethics, integrity, or remorse with regard, accountability with regard to their behavior. And or alternatively, they actually believe they did nothing wrong. Although in this case with Mr. X, he would frequently make admissions to the wrong he had done, but then immediately expect me to do. So, they know what they're doing. And this is really important. I do not subscribe to the idea that the covert malignant narcissist sociopath is unaware of herself or himself. In my case, they were all, except for my mother, all of them were men. But my mother is definitely one of them. But I do not subscribe to the idea that they don't know what they're doing and they can't control themselves. I don't at all. And here's why I've seen the proof of this. This is why, and this is, ask the covert malignant narcissist. So if in fact you are plagued with such an individual, if there's someone in your life or you're trapped in a relationship or something, think about this. Do they publicly show themselves to be the evil, horrific creatures that they are in front of other people who could then criticize them or observe the behavior and take an issue with that behavior and object to it or object to him or see him or her negatively because of that behavior? Think about it. Do they do that? No. So for example, here's an analogy. So typically what will happen is there will be the full scope of abuse will occur, and it's guaranteed to happen, and what order it happens in may shift, but eventually it will always be financial, emotional, mental, physical. And in my case, all of them were there. And so the analogy, the concept, he couldn't control himself, and he was hitting me, and I fell onto the kitchen floor or wherever it was, or the living room floor, and he just lost control of himself. Okay, so Does he do that in the supermarket? Does she do that in the supermarket? Most of the time, really a lot, like 99, they don't do it in the supermarket or some public place or a party, somewhere where they can be observed. So clearly, if they are adjusting if they are monitoring their own behavior according to where you are, then clearly they know exactly what they're doing all the time. Right? Because they're not punching you in public. And yes, it's not that we haven't seen this. We have seen this happen. It does happen sometimes in public where somebody they don't care. Maybe they don't care about the opinion of in this public place. But there's going to inevitably be a situation where the abuser, the covert malignant narcissist sociopath, will be in a social situation where they don't want the individuals in the social situation to know what they really are. So they will never expose this behavior. And they do not feel that they certainly know what they're doing, and they're not accountable, and they're doing so consciously, and they're doing it for a variety of reasons, one of them which is control and domination, and they immediately absolve themselves. The get over it thing, the last point I've got here, the get over it problem, the get over it exclamation. Just get over it. Stop holding grudges. They absolve themselves instantaneously because alternatively either they don't see themselves as having done anything wrong, or they just simply feel absolutely justified. They fully justify their own abusive conduct. We could go for another 2 hours on the varieties of that. And so they turn to whoever it is that they're abusing, that you, me, the target, and they expect us to simply brush it off and give them a pass and continue with them. And unfortunately, I myself included, we have done that. We have given them a pass. And I just didn't know what I was doing. And I'm doing this to help that you may be in a situation where you are just becoming aware of this. And you didn't know what the mechanics of this horrible thing is. I didn't know what the mechanics were. And I was not equipped or prepared to handle the situation. So, as many might identify, for me in my case, I was so desperate for the relationship to work. I was so desperate to have some happiness. I would have done anything. I would have given a kidney if it would have meant that he would be happy, because if he's not happy, nobody's happy. And I would have given a kidney if it meant he could be happy, and then if he were happy, then we could all be happy. But again, that's also just a fantasy, because there's no such thing. So I'll end there. These are the four main, I'll just briefly recap just the titles of the four main points. I've given you the descriptions of, my own experience. 1, they show moments of clarity and brilliance for the purpose of establishing control or re-establishing control, and then they go back to their old behavior. Number 2, he or she does not love you. He or she hates you. Really. They talk all manner of this love. They hate us. Number 3, they always have to be somewhere else. They can't just be with us. And number 4, they act like nothing happened. What's wrong with you? I hope this has been helpful. Tune in again. I will continue this series, and because this video is so long, what I will do is I will cut it down to 2 points per video out of the 16 facts about the covert malignant narcissist sociopaths. I will cut it down so that these videos can be shorter and more easily consumed. Thank you for visiting. I hope this is helpful, and may you be blessed today.